Welcome back to another episode of Broke Premiere, guys. If you've been here, then you know that we've been working on my Audi. Last week, we were able to get all the paint done, all the body parts on. The grill, I love the way the grill came out. But I ended up taking this thing out to get washed and get all the wax and the powder and clean the windows a little bit. And then when I got back, I ended up doing the Audi emblem. I think you guys probably saw me. I was cutting out a sticker to try to find the double-sided adhesive to fit it. The reason I was doing that, the emblems cost $100 from VW. If I find it on Amazon, it's $92. So instead, I bought a $8 double-sided 3M style stick tape. Pretty much the exact same thing that would have been on the back of that off of Amazon. So if you ever need to redo an emblem, just know before you try to purchase one that you can buy that tape, like a little pad, for $8 off of Amazon. Totally worth it. The other thing I don't even think you guys knew was a problem was all the grommets to this airbox. They were all dry rotted and kind of in pieces. And it started creating kind of a leak near the airbox, so it was pulling a little weird. And it could create like kind of hot air getting into the airbox. So I wanted to get new ones. They were like $7 or $8 I ordered offline. It was perfect. Got that done. The other thing I got done is once I did all this, I took it out for a test drive, kind of see how the car ran. And I got it down to the EVAP module was left. In California, some of the smog centers will allow an EVAP module to not set and still pass the smog. It all depends if they have enough credits. Each smog center gets a certain amount of credits where they're allowed to like kind of let something slip by, which I think is only the EVAP module. I don't think any other ones are allowed. Anyway, since this car is ready to go, I now want to make it a little bit comfortable inside. So I bought some headliner and it just showed up this morning. So if you can see, my whole headliner is just kind of like a parachute hanging right now. So what I want to do right now is to remove all the little panels that are going to hold this up along with the handles and the lights to get the headliner out, then take this thing out and we'll kind of go from there. Okay guys, it's early. I think I was wrapping up kind of doing the interior. I had to end up pulling everything out just to get the headliner. I'm still pulling that out. But today is auction day, or at least one of the auction days. So I'm gonna head down there quick. I checked out a bunch of cars yesterday before doing the headliner and everything. I'm gonna try to tape some. I'm still pretty new to this. I don't wanna annoy anyone or aggravate anyone and then be watched every time I tape. So I'm gonna try to tape some. Probably gonna try to hide it just in case I don't wanna get kicked out. So anyway, I'm gonna head down there. See you guys in a bit.
Please walk all the way around this one, okay? That was you guys. The D&D on this one is $482. All right. 3,000. What do you get? 3. Now 31. Better to be 3,000. Now 30.
I'm back from the auction. I had about 12 or 13 cars on a list I was going to check out. I had the mileage down, what I should pay for them, what the MMR of them are. I didn't buy anything. I did learn a lot. So for instance, one of the reasons I didn't buy anything, because the cars that I could afford, they came with DMV fees attached. One had almost $1,000 in DMV fees and another one had about $500. And then that kind of crunched into the maximum that I could stretch out of that car. It got really low, like down to $1,000. And it was like probably at least a week, maybe 2 or 3 weeks worth of work. And that wasn't going to be worth $1,000. On the way home, I called my occupational licensing person and kind of find out if wholesalers need to pay DMV fees. Turns out we don't. So I could have bid on the 2 cars. One of them went way too high. I had to be a dealer buying it to fix it and sell it because there's just no money to be made for a wholesaler in it. The other car I could have made money on, just like I said, maybe $1,000 over 2 to 3 weeks possibly worth of work. But what I did learn was most of the money is in something that could be near salvage. What I mean by that is there's probably some frame damage. It looks really ugly, but it's still doable. So for instance, there was a 2018 Charger I was looking at. It had 75,000 miles. Did get a hit in the front end. It bent the frame support in the front, but I think that frame piece was replaceable. I think it's called like the crunch zone or something like that. Anyway, I probably could have done that one. I'm not sure if it bolted up there or if I had a cut in at that point. I thought I should pay about $16,500 for that car. The MMR in good condition says that it's worth about $23,500, and I went for $13,500. I did think you're probably going to spend a couple thousand just in airbags alone, and needed right fender, door, and rear door, maybe the right quarter panel cleaned up a little bit, hood and front bumper, grill, all the inserts of the front bumper, maybe a radiator. Probably $4 to $5,000 in parts, all said and done, maybe even more. It all depends if you can get them at a junkyard cheap, quick, how long you're gonna sit on it, if it's worth it. But I do think the money's there because I think you probably could have put about $5,000 into it and made another $5,000 on top, and probably about a month's worth of work, if that. So I do think that'll be the goal to head towards in the future. Unfortunately, I didn't have $13,500 to spend. I just don't have that right now. So probably going to have to focus on like the beaters that I've been doing, maybe a little bit better. Also, I found that cars sell higher at that particular auction than the one that I was at when I sold my Forte. I do think I should have brought the Forte there. I probably would have made the extra $500 or $600. So there is another auction I'm going to be visiting next week that I'll probably take you guys on as well. And I'm hoping to buy something there. Anyway, right now, I want to finish taking out the headliner. Don't think there's much left. I've got all the seats out of the car. It's completely stripped. Right now, what I'm going to do is take off all the plastic trim and then try to take off these upper parts. It's going to be a long day. Time to get started. This is not what I ordered. Okay, so it is the next morning. This is probably the last headliner I'm gonna do. I think it's worth it if you're gonna do it at home on a budget, but when you're just trying to get stuff done, this was a big project and that old glue drives me nuts. I will say I was using a drill with a wire brush as recommended by someone on YouTube. I think that's good if you have a cardboard backed headliner. If you have a fiberglass back headliner, then I would use the sandal method. Some other guy recommended that and it was far faster to remove all the old foam and glue. In fact, I don't even know if I showed you guys. I used an old rubber sandal just to kind of knock the stuff off, and I think it was like in this back corner. Once I did that, everything moved so much faster. There's definitely a lot of little cracks. I couldn't figure out how to stretch this correctly on this one. And I think what it is I try to do it half and then half, and I think with how this is so concaved, I would have started in and then worked my way out so that I would have got the handles right and probably all this where the sun visors go correct. But I did it half and half and it just kind of stretched and pulled weird and not everything was gluing up correctly. Luckily it did by the end, but this whole front section wasn't gluing at all. Kinda is now. The back is more adhered and tough, so it'll stay there, I know that, but this isn't stuck like I'd like it to. And then the handle spots, yeah, they're all a little loose and tack. Yeah, even over glued here, you can see bleed through the glue. The rest looks decent, came out okay. I do think if I can get these things done for like 150 bucks, 200 bucks, I'll probably just pay to have them done in the future. Anything over that, I'll probably still deal with it, but it's like $80 worth of product and a giant headache. Anyway, now comes the fun part of putting it all back together. And before I do that, I first want to clean up all the cloth parts that hold it up. I did want to rewrap these, but I think I mentioned to you guys that they don't have a foam back like this. It's just cloth on plastic. It's not gonna sit correctly. And this is actually the last piece I have to put on, so if I can get it off and then re-glued, then I may actually go through with that. All of the cloth panels, I believe, are done and clean. I forget what the theory is called, but there's a theory out there that if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. And that's exactly what happened. Every single one of the cloth pieces started to fall off. The problem is that the edges are sealed really good on these pillars, along with this back panel. It's like melted on. It's very strong. These super back pillars, the ones that I wish were glued like that, aren't. And it came off completely. So overall, this was kind of a fail. They look better, but they're falling off completely now. So I don't even know what to do. I'm just gonna leave them. These back pillars are melted to each other. This black piece is melted to this top gray piece. So I can't even separate them to fix the cover. These ones also are melted at the bottom and the top. And then the side here is all melted. I think I just gotta deal with that. These are gonna have some sag and look a little weird. I don't know if maybe a heat gun might reactivate the glue. I highly doubt it. It is what it is. Right now what I wanna do is start tackling this floor. It is horrendous. There is a lot to do, a lot of mess, and a lot of stain to work out. So I'm gonna get started. See you guys in a bit. All right, so I think all of the carpet is clean. I still have to like clean the seats as I put them in. But right now I would like to get the headliner back in and then start putting in all the little cloth pieces just to hold up the headliner, and then just kind of work from there to put everything back into the vehicle. This whole place is full. There's no place to work, so I really want to get this done. If you see, I just have a pile of parts all around the car, and I'm trying to move around here, but there's no more space left in the garage. So gonna get started putting that in, and then I'll probably just keep going until everything's back in the car. Okay, so the headliner is in, came out pretty good. I don't think I showed you guys all of me installing it. It was pretty irritating trying to get that thing up there. But finally I figured out the trick was to kind of mount the back, then I can mount the front, then I can mount the sides, and so on. All the pieces are in. So if you look, I got all the headrests in, handles, the back lights, all the little panels. It's not a great match, and that's okay. You live and you learn. Anyway, the interior came out a lot better. There's still some hard staining back in these corners I just couldn't get out. As far as what it looked like, I mean, this interior was disgusting. This was full of french fries and stickers and all kinds of goo, and yeah, I'm very happy with how clean this carpet got. Now, what I would like to do is to finish installing this. Today is editing day, so I gotta kind of do this fast, but I would like to get all these parts back into the car nice and clean and have the interior almost finished. The last thing will be to do is probably the stereo, but I'll probably do that quick next week. I would like to try to get a flip in this place by next week. I also want to do all the walls, sheetrocked, mudded, painted, and start the next flip and have this car done. That's a lot to get done, but hopefully I can. Anyway, I'm gonna get started installing and cleaning all these panels, see how it goes. Okay guys, I don't think I can finish this week. I didn't realize how many little things that I had forgotten about. I still have to do all the door panels. My dashboard still hasn't been cleaned. I still need to install the stereo. There's a lot of little things that as I keep going, I keep finding there's one more thing. And now I've started to cut things short that I wanted to finish. So I just think I gotta call it. So for instance, I kind of wanted to paint this center console, but I just kind of let that slide because I decided I don't need to do it. These other little handle pieces right here, I wanted to paint those as well, but I started to let that slide. The seats I wanted to paint, and I may not do any of this right now, but it's one thing after the other, and now I still have to clean all the door cards, get this seat installed, get that seat installed, put all the trim in here, still clean the seats, clean the trim. And it's already 7 o'clock Saturday night, and I got to get a video out for you guys and start editing it right now for 8 a.m. Sunday morning. So I think next week I'm going to put all this in, and then I'm going to sheetrock these walls behind me, the walls behind you, and then hopefully get a new flip. Probably Tuesday is my goal. It's my goal. If there's something good at the auction, that's what I'm going to do. Hopefully I can bring you guys along, try to get some better shots than the cruddy ones I showed you this week. Until then, I did put this video here that I think you guys are going to enjoy, but I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you next time. Later, guys.